So, and now welcome to the second part of this video, the part that most of you are probably already familiar with, the part where we install this new motherboard into my PC. Enjoy. Oh, and what I forgot to mention, from here on out, it's just dumb commentary, no specifications whatsoever. This is for people who just enjoy watching other people build PCs. This is nothing very professional or anything. This is more of a vlog style thing. So yeah, if you hang around and actually watch me build that shit, then hope you have a good time. Otherwise, well, bye now. So yeah, now with the side panels off, we can actually start building this. Again, I don't have a fancy camera setup. I'm just here in my room with a way too small desk, trying to build a PC while recording it with the camera, speaking into a microphone and a light that is actually more in the way than it actually is helping. Let's do it, right? This is what YouTube is about. Being unprofessional and, well, doing dumb shit, right? Let's actually get that to safety first. So first of all, we're gonna remove the most obvious parts, and that is the GPU. The GPU being in the way of everything. Everything that you ever want to do with GPU is in your way, I guaranteed. So the first time removing a GPU is like the worst thing you can do, because you have like this $500, $600, $700 piece of technology and you actually have no real idea what you're doing. When you get used to it, it's just another piece of technology that is worth way more than my entire life. So, let's just... That was a lot of dust. That was way too much dust for my comfort. And also, you've actually never seen this. I have a capture card for that little piece of trash that you're actually looking through right now. For live streaming and, well, technically for things like that, where I'm doing something with it and then I can project it on a big nice screen like here, where there's my audio running currently. But well, with that PC actually not running, it's, well, impossible. So I'm gonna put these aside. I'll put them in later. Yeah, let's just put my GPU on the ground. That's a good idea. We all like our GPUs on the ground where everyone can step on them. Then 16 beautiful gigs of RAM, the USB 3.0 connector, bunch of SATA connectors, the 24-pin one, main power delivery. Then, well, let's just unplug the front I/O, bunch of small cables, USB cables, and everything. And more SATA connectors, actually 4, 2 SSDs, 2 hard drives. And yeah, then the 8-pin connector up here, or is it actually? Oh, 16-pin CPU power delivery. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to undo a lot more to get that one free. Have to unscrew the radiator, which, well, is actually not too bad of an idea. Yes, it just sounded like it's broken. I just hit myself in the face with it. Great things happening. Oh my god, that's so dusty. I'm gonna have to clean that later. Yeah, there's a lot of dust in it. I'm actually cleaning my PC relatively regularly. But, well, I can't just 24/7 clean my PC, am I right? So, then unscrew. Shall I unscrew? Yeah. Next thing, before I do that, I actually have to get some thermal paste, obviously. There's a pencil sharpener in my mainboard box. Yeah, okay. Things happen, apparently. Okay, yeah, I do have a lot of thermal paste, so enough for me. Now the radio is unscrewed, just... Well, better, god damn it, to lay it down again. Yeah, I should clean this. Should clean my radiator. I I've never actually done that before. And now let's unscrew the pump and the reservoir. So, there we go, these 4 big ass screws removed from my H100XI GT. Alright, oh my god. Okay, big mistake right here. I forgot to remove the cables connecting to the pump. Well, actually, it was a lot harder than I anticipated. So here we have it, our H100i GTX. State of the art, 2 years ago. Still actually pretty decent. And let's unscrew the... or first of all, let's clean it. So, and I'm cleaning all my CPU components with 96% alcohol. Wasn't able to get 100%, also 99%. 100% is impossible. But then I just put them on a coffee filter, clean them like this and like that, and get all the rubbish off of there. But it's a nice, beautiful... oh well, actually it's now sticking everywhere. Okay. Nice and beautiful copper plate. And apparently I was mounting it too tightly or not tightly enough, because some of the thermal paste is really dry. And right about now I don't actually know what that means. But I guess that I wasn't mounting it right. Yeah, that should actually be fine. Then let's unscrew the fans and actually clean them too. Because cleaning the front fans is one thing, but cleaning the actual CPU water cooling fans is another whole different story. And for extra safety purposes, gonna cover the CPU block for now, so it doesn't get scratched. Yeah, so not gonna show you the next part because that's gonna be a dusty situation. And so now after dusting off and cleaning the CPU cooler, I can finally unplug the 16-pin CPU power delivery connector, and now flip it over once more, and then let's unscrew the mainboard. 5 screws later, I can finally remove this and place it onto a safe surface, such as an anti-static mat. Pop off the I/O shield, and now we have a almost completely empty case and the main board. Last step, well, the last steps now are to unscrew the CPU cooler standoffs. Then let's remove the back plate. There we go. Now all that's left is actually cleaning the CPU. That's mostly clean, so let's pop it open and remove the CPU from its socket and put it back into a safe case. Voila! CPU back in its safe case. Put it somewhere safer. And the absolute final step for this mainboard is the socket cover. Putting it back on should be no problem. So, there we go. Now everything's back in place, and then seal the deal. There we go. And here's the new one. Isn't it great? Isn't it amazing? And now actually the fun part begins. So up to now it's been 40 minutes, and now the fun part begins. So, the first thing that I want to do is actually reading what's it with this weird CPU installation cover. Oh, there are multiple chapters, not languages, chapters. Chapter 1 is about connectors. Chapter 2 is about CPU. Okay, yeah, so This weird little cover is actually for ease of installation. They provided us with it, so we are going to use it. Okay, yeah. Honestly, this doesn't feel like it makes anything easier, but apparently it does, so we're going to use it. It has to actually snap on in the back. We're gonna open it up. The CPU cover. Place the CPU in there. Okay, apparently that makes everything easier. And now, I'll clean the installed CPU. Well, it's actually not too bad. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I like the idea. I like the thought. But I have to actually, well, touch my CPU's backside. Which, well, it's not my favorite side of my CPU. Oh well. The things you do for technology. The next thing we're going to do is install the backplate again. And with the backplate on, we can mount the AIO connector. Or the AIO standoffs, rather. So, next step, put on the radiator. And before we do that, we actually want to apply some thermal paste. There are a lot of styles to apply thermal paste. I know. But I prefer just a little dot in the middle. Okay, so I decided to use a completely new pack of thermal paste because the last one was way too thick. And the viscosity didn't feel right. That's also weird. What's wrong with my thermal paste? That doesn't seem properly mixed. I know it's old, but not that old. Not old enough that I can't use it. Just a little dot in the middle. That's it. And now, let's place the radiator in the preferred position. With the logo on the right side. So that it's facing straight, that you can actually read it. The first time I install this radiator, it's actually the worst. So for complete newcomers, do not use any AIO like I did. They're cool, and they're the closest thing you'll have to water cooling for a long time. But they're a bitch to install, and I mean it. Always go in an X pattern when you're installing coolers of any sort. Because then you spread the thermal paste a lot more evenly. And with this cooler, you just have to tighten them a little bit. Nothing too strong, so that you're not bending anything. Let's check. Nice and even contact, no wiggle room. Basically, perfect. So then, let's pop in the RAM. Slot 2 and 4. We have the 2 slots, 2 DIMMs. Okay, and for the next step, I'm gonna lay down the case. Because putting in the motherboard is a lot easier when the case is facing down. So now the next step will be to put in the rear I/O first. There we go, the rear I/O shield. Because I once forgot that, and well, it was a pain in the ass to undo everything again. Okay, that's in properly. Okay then. Actually no, can't lift it up yet. It's a USB 3.0 connector. So now we're gonna shove that thing in there. And now line the rear I/O up perfectly. Make everything fit is, in my opinion, one of the trickiest parts, one of the trickiest things to do while building your PC. There we go. I don't know what just snapped in or what happened exactly, but I know that it now is in the correct position. This part's always, as I said, tricky. And I don't like it. Now let's screw in the motherboard. At first, just put in the screws and then tighten them after all are in, so that you're not damaging the board if it's not in 100% correctly. So now that all screws are in, tighten them. Because you don't want your motherboard to run away. You really don't. It's like the worst thing that could happen, ever. And there we go. That's the main board in. On to the next challenge. Mounting the radiator. Or first of all, let's plug in CPU power delivery. Routing it through here. Then plugging it in. And after that, we're going to mount the radiator. Actually, no. Let's not mount it for now. Let's first plug everything in, then mount the fans onto the radiator, and then mount the radiator because the radiator is the most annoying thing on an AIO or any water-cooled PC, really. So, sitting down for that one because that will take a while. Figuring out what is. I basically have to reroute a lot, so it'll take a while. Not a while, half an eternity to figure all of that out. And I'm plugging all the SATA cables, well, or orange ones. So that's the reason why I'm glad that I got new SATA cables. So I ran out of them. Now I'm just setting up my PMW controller for all the fans. So that all the fans are controlled by the CPU temperature. Okay, then. That's SATA and power delivery for the PMW controller. Then we've got the two very ugly SATA ports. It's actually a splitter because I need two single ones for the SSDs down in the bottom, which is not optimal, but it works. And it's all I have. Front I/O, USB I/O, 24-pin connector. That's actually very easily doable. One weird thing about this motherboard is that the USB 3.0 connector is actually in the bottom. Don't know who at Asus thought, yay, let's reinvent the wheel, but that may actually be a big problem. Yeah, let's see if the SSD still fits. Barely. Oh, it could actually work if a miracle happens and the USB 3 cable isn't broken already. So, battery number 2. This video is a lot longer than I intended it to be. But then again, yes, I am changing my motherboard, so yeah, let's actually look up where what belongs in order not to damage anything. Seriously, why isn't there an adapter for the front I/O? You know, some of the very new and fancy motherboards do have a piece of plastic where you just plug in your pins outside of the case and then you just plug everything in at once, which is a lot easier. Now let's mount the fans onto the radiator. And so before actually installing the radiator, the last thing that I'm gonna do is connect the pump to an USB slot so that it can be controlled via software, that it, well, works in general. Now after all that's installed, I'm pretty sure that the only thing left to do is, well, to route these two fans and then to just mount the radiator. So now that we've mounted the radiator, the last thing cable-wise, before we cable manage, to do is actually connect the drives via SATA and power. Yeah. And these two SSDs are a bitch to connect because it's right here in the bottom and there's hardly any space to do anything. So we'll just have to make do with what we have. So I have to use straight ones for the SSDs and then I can use bent ones for the hard drives, so that I don't use up all the straight ones. Let's hope that's that's correct. Plug in SATA and power and SATA. Get them into the bay, and yeah, as I said, it barely fits. Very lucky. Close call. There we go. Okay, and the next one. This is one CPU fan, the second, well, CPU radiator fan. There will be no extra cables coming now, well, at least up here. So I can safely secure these cable ties. It's actually been a while since I've used permanent cable ties. Switched to these Velcro straps a long time ago, because it's just a lot easier to remanage everything, because you're going to remanage everything a lot, always. If you're as active as I am, if you're just building it to, well, have it, and then never touch that again, or if you have someone else build it, it's probably better to use permanent ones, because they, well, in my opinion, they hold a lot better and longer, and they're a lot thinner, so they don't stick out that much. It's actually everything I can fixate now. The rest has to be done later. Okay. Yeah then, plug in SATA. So as I said, for the hard drive I'm gonna use the angled ones that came with the main board itself. There we go, all 4 plugged in. 2 more SATA slots available if I want to. Yeah, the last thing to do is plug in the graphics card, but I don't need to plug in the graphics card for cable management because the graphics card cable routes somewhere completely different. All there's left to do is not to break everything. And strap it down. And there we go. Should be good. Almost good to go. Well, almost. Almost forgot one of the most important parts, or at least for a gamer. The GPU! Man, that would have been, well, a shame. Yeah. It sure does feel like it's a lot better quality. Much better quality than the last one I had. The parts all feel great. All the slots, everything. I love it. So then, plug in power for GPU, and yeah, I know this cable is very ugly, but it's okay because it works. Nice. And now let's just finish up some minor details, and technically we really are ready. Fire it up and see if it boots with a new mainboard. So for that, I actually have to grab a separate monitor. Power it on, and it crashes, and now it fires up. I didn't press anything, it just turned back on again. Ooh, it boots on the first try. Oh, it just feels great. Look at the RGB. Can you see the RGB? I'm just not used to RGB, I'm sorry. I know everyone is RGB today, but nowadays, but I don't. First time RGB ever. So now it's actually connecting and installing and recognizing all the parts. Let's just let it do that for a while. CPU fan speed arrow. Okay, yeah. I had a custom CPU curve, so there were some problems apparently. So now I'm gonna just fix the software problems, and then we're gonna have a small talk at the end. Later. Hey guys, so this is a few days after I shot the last video, and as you've seen, there was a problem with the software, CPU overheating. Apparently my mainboard didn't really detect my pump, and my pump wasn't starting, and so nothing was running and the CPU wasn't being cooled. So then I was like, what the fuck is happening? It's all plugged in correctly, the Corsair link was plugged into a USB hub. So then I just unplugged everything again to see if I've plugged something in incorrectly. And as I've done that, I've noticed that not just was the software on the mainboard apparently faulty, no, also 2 pins from the USB 3.0 connector were just missing. They weren't even there. That was just where they were supposed to be. There was this small little piece of metal, and
I don't. The 2 pins were just missing on the USB 3.1 connector, 3.0 connector on the mainboard. So yeah, I just reinstalled my old mainboard, and I told you that I was only able to install my RAM slots on slot 1 and 2, but in the making of restoring my PC to its old state, apparently something fixed on the main board, and now, as you can see here, oh my god, that's dusty. They're actually on slot 2 and 4, and not on 1 and 2. 1 and 2 will be one white one and a black one, not in 2 and 4. I don't know what fixed that, but that's fixed now, and I was so pissed I just, immediately sent the mainboard back, and yeah, that's the end of the story. I know that's the worst possible outcome for a video like that, but yeah, it is the outcome that we have to endure now. So I hope you at least moderately enjoyed these 2 videos about the mainboard that I'm never going to see again. And thank you everybody for watching. Bye.